Hello guys, and welcome back to another class of our course about the complete introduction to programming with Java. So basically in today's class we are going to talk about different data types that exist in this amazing programming language, and you'll see there is plenty of them. So pretty simple. We can say that there are three categories of data types in Java. So it's a little bit different from other programming languages. Well, the categories are pretty much the same as the others, but the data types are a little bit different. So first of all, we have the Boolean data type, which is basically data type that is true or false. So how it works, it will simply give you an answer by true or false. Then we have text data. So basically there is a data type that is called char in Java that we're going to talk about it. And finally, we have the last data type, which is numbers. And there are plenty of different data types in the numbers category inside of Java. And basically there are two categories with just one data type each. And for numbers, there are plenty of different data types that exist. So once again, you don't necessarily have to remember all of those data types. You'll see the more you're gonna practice them, the more it's gonna be easy, but it's pretty simple. For numbers, you just need to remember some of them, and usually the main difference between all those data types is just that it takes less space, so less memory space. And in the case that you guys are creating huge applications, sometimes you need to save some memory because it's gonna take time to run. So you're gonna use data types that has less a range that is less big than some other data types, and that it will allow you to basically save some space. So let's start. Basically, the first data type that we are going to talk about is the Boolean data type. And as I said, it's pretty simple. So it's used to store true or false statement. So just a little point, you'll see an example for each data type, a code example for each data type. So usually how it works, as I said, it's pretty simple. So you guys want, let's say you have an application that you create, and you want to be able to, well, you want to ask the application if something is true. If a statement is true, you want to return something. If a statement is false, you want to return something else. So it's pretty simple. To be able to do this, you want to work with Boolean data types. So this is one of the first and basic data types. So there are just two possible answers. So true or false. So for example, you work with an if statement as well. And you ask you ask your application if, for example, the value of that variable is higher than 5, then if it's true, I want to return something. If it's false, I want to return something else. So basically, you will use your variables, and you will as well use a Boolean data type to be able to perform true or false. Right, second data type will be the byte data type. So this is a data type that is part of the numbers data types, we can say, well, the numbers category. And basically it works, well, pretty much the same way as all the other number data types, well, data types that are associated with numbers. So this is a primitive data type. Its value, it will range between -128 and 127. It's used instead of int. So int is another data type that works with numbers. So the only difference is that it has a bigger range. So as I said, the main difference between all those data types for numbers, it's usually the range that they have. So some of them have really limited range, such as the byte data type that has a range between -128 and 127. So a code example, it could look something like this. So first of all, when you write down your code, pretty important, you write down your data type, then the name of your data, of your variable. So in this case, we are going to store everything inside of a variable. So we have our data type, which is byte, the name of our variable, which is example, and the value of our variable, which is 5. So we're going to talk about all this in the next class. But just for now, for you guys to know that byte is another type of data. All right, char is the data type that is used to store characters. So let's say you want to store something in a variable and you want to store names, or you want to store, I don't know, some words. Well, basically the data type that you guys will use will be the char data type. So this is an example right here. So first of all, you write down your data type, then you write down the variable, then you write down what you want to store inside of your variable, and here you can store A, B, C, for example. So char really used to store characters or letters, letters, not numbers, just letters. So, well, other characters as well, but mostly letters. So basically it's for to store strings, if you want to say it this way. All right, next data type will be the short data type. This is a data type that has a value between minus 32,7600 and 32,767. So basically, once again, this is the range of this data type. It takes a little bit more memory to use it. And as I said, if you are working with some types of applications, sometimes it's better to use data types that has that takes less memory, because, well, why? The biggest issue with that is that it will take more time loading. So if you're always using a data type that takes a lot of memory, so for example, use the double data type for all your calculations, and you have a huge application, well, it's gonna take a lot of time to load. All right, next data type that we are going to talk about will be the int data type, which is integers. And basically, what exactly is this data type? Well, it's once again a numerical data type that has data values that are between minus 2 power 31 and 2 power 31 minus 1. So once again, any number you want to generate between those those two ranges, you can do it with the int data type. So once again, there is an example. So int example equals 500. So you can store 500 inside of example with the int data type. Basically, for the purpose of this example, you could have used the pass data type as well. So you could have used the short as well. So you can use short or int, both would work. So basically, as I said, at the end, it's really a matter of how much space it's gonna take. All right, the long data type is another way to write down numbers. So it will store data that has values between minus 2 power 63 and 2 power 63 minus 1. So once again, it's really huge numbers. So it will take a little bit more of space. And once again, this is no matter if you write down small numbers or a huge number, it's gonna take the same amount of space. This is why it's really important to choose your data type depending of the type of application that you guys want to create, and if you plan that your application will take a lot of memory to run. Next type of data, the float data type. Once again, this type of data has an unlimited range but should not be used for precise values, so a lot of decimals. Once again, this type of data will take in consideration decimals, which is pretty cool in this. Well, if you want to work with decimals, it's pretty interesting as well. But once again, it takes a little bit more space. It's really important to understand that, because not all data types will take decimals. So really important to understand. Finally, the last type of data, which is the double data type. It's a data type that has an unlimited range, and usually used to work with decimals, a little bit like the float data type, but this type of data has a lot more range, especially for decimals. So this is an example of the double data type, so 52.3. So once again, as I said, 3 categories of data. We have first of all Boolean, so true or false. We have text or string, and in this case it's the char data type. And finally we have numbers, so everything that is numerical. So it's possible to run different data types for the numerical category, but it's really important to understand that your choice of data type when you are working the numerical part will affect how fast your application will run. So right now that you guys know the theory between data types and you have few examples of code right there, we're going to try to run all those data types inside of Java and practice a little bit. So that's it for this class, guys, and see you all in our next class.